Welcome into Tuesday, everyone. I know it's been a few weeks since we did our last session. I think this is one of those times life has just sort of gotten in the way. But we are back on our track of we were doing a series called Dose for Children. So we did the D, which is dopamine. We did the O, which is oxytocin. And today we are doing the S for serotonin. So what is serotonin and what does it matter to any of us, but especially to children? Well, serotonin is a neurotransmitter. It's a chemical that's in our body, kind of like the dopamine and the oxytocin. It is a particular chemical that is in our body that is a neurotransmitter. The serotonin is known as the happy chemical. It's sort of responsible for feeling good, for well-being, for feeling very happy. This one is a little bit different from some of the other ones because a lot of it comes from sort of outside sources. So it is made by tryptophan, which is an amino acid. This particular amino acid comes from our diet. So things like cheeses, nuts, beef, beans, things of that nature is where this comes from. So this is a little bit more diet or outside related. But having normal serotonin levels in studies does show that it creates just happier people, happier kids. They're happy. They're more socially apt. They are better able to make friends because they are happier, or they are less depressed. They are less aggressive. They are less irritable and moody per se. So we want to do our best to make sure that serotonin levels remain as normal as we can keep them. So there are a few things that we can do to help our kids maintain healthy serotonin levels. So when we make the serotonin levels good and we have the happy chemical combined with the other chemicals, the dopamine and the oxytocin, sort of our feel-good chemicals, keeping us calm chemicals, all that, it makes an overall sort of healthy, well-balanced child. There are a few things that we can do to help sort of regulate these levels of serotonin. One is light, nice, bright light. Now, I know that in this day and time, having outside children that want to go outside and play doesn't happen quite as much as it once did in the past. I know we can buy all kinds of bright lights for inside, but the light that we're talking about is outside bright light. Maybe that's why our parents used to tell us, go outside, I'll call you when it's time to come in. Don't come in from playing until I call you. Did our parents know that they were helping to regulate the serotonin level? Probably not, but they probably did realize that they were creating happier, overall, more well-rounded, healthy children by saying, go outside and play. So to tell your kid, go outside to play, no, you are not punishing them from video games, from telephones, from all of these different things. You are actually trying to help increase their health and increase the serotonin levels that they have, which does make them happier children all the way around. Does it mean they have to go outside and climb trees and chase frogs? No, maybe they go outside to read a book. Maybe they go outside to take a walk. Maybe they do all sorts of different things that we can do outside. But being outside in bright light is very, very, very important. And it just makes us all healthier, a little bit more well-rounded. And as a parent, it might even give you a very welcome 10 or 15-minute break. Who knows? And as parents, we definitely all need that sometimes. Another thing that can help regulate the serotonin levels is exercise. How many times have we heard people say, hey, I just always feel better when I go to the gym and work out? A lot of times we roll our eyes and all that kind of good stuff because we're like, okay, yeah, right. Who has time to go to the gym every day? But they are right. They do feel better. They feel happier when they have had a chance to work out. Now, for us especially in today's busy world, and especially for kids. It does not mean that you have to go to the gym. So when we're talking about our kids, there's a variety of activities that can be considered exercise. It could be martial arts. It could be an active summer camp. It could be dance. It could be basketball, tennis. It could be kids yoga. It could be anything that keeps your kids up and active. And these activities, again, they're increasing the serotonin levels because they're exercising. It's keeping them healthy. You know, exercise has all other sorts of positive benefits. But in addition to that, when those serotonin levels are remaining steady and they're increased, it also helps social skills. So it helps them to feel happier, to feel better about themselves, makes them a little bit more confident in social situations, and actually helps their ability to be able to make friends and sort of navigate their way through social situations. So we have the light, we have the exercise. What was one of the things I said is that serotonin is made by an amino acid called tryptophan, which is introduced through our diet. So diet obviously is very, very important to the serotonin levels. So the amino acid tryptophan a lot of times comes through some of our carbohydrates. Our simple carbohydrates, which are like pastas, white potatoes, sort of what we would consider maybe some of our processed sort of carbohydrates. Those are really good for the tryptophan levels. However, if we have too many of those, obviously there are some downfalls on the health side, especially the sugars for people who are diabetic, because it messes with our sugar levels and our insulin levels and all of that. So especially if we have any of those particular concerns, if we have weight concerns, we don't want too many of our simple carbohydrates. We want to have those in a very moderated amount. But some of our more complex carbohydrates, like sweet potatoes, blueberries, beans, cheeses, some of those kinds of things. Our L-tryptophans, which is our chicken, our beef, that's actually where the beans can fit in, eggs. Those kinds of things can be better for creating brain serotonins. So we definitely want to introduce those into our diet as much as possible. And we want to keep the simple carbohydrates at a moderated level. It doesn't mean we can't have any. It just means that we need to keep those at a moderated level because of some of the other health concerns. But for our serotonin levels, they can certainly be good, especially when mixed in with those more complex carbohydrates. So what else can we do? Just simple everyday things. We can make our kids feel good. We can give our kids a high five. And we can do silly things like, oh man, that was just a weak high five. Come on, give me a really super great one. And so the kids always, they rear back like this and they hit you as hard as they can. And even if it's not really that hard, just act like it broke your arm off. It just makes kids feel good about themselves. Calling kids by their name. So what's really important is when you take your kids to any sort of activity, if the coach never knows their name, or the teacher or instructor or whatever activity is, if they don't know their name and they never call your child by name, that may not make your child feel so good. So you want to make sure that when you're taking them to activities that the coach is involved or the teacher, whoever it is very involved, and they know your kid by name and they call them by name and they give them that high five and they know something about them to ask them about. That makes kids feel good about themselves. Again, it increases those serotonin levels. Pointing out what kids did good that day. Asking things instead of, hey, did you have a good day? What was the most fun thing you did today? What was the most creative thing you did today? What was the hardest thing you had to do in school today? What was one thing your teacher said that really made you stop and think just a little bit? Okay, that shows the kid that you're really interested in them. You're really asking about the type of day that they had. And again, it just makes them feel good about their day. I certainly hope that this has been helpful to you. Again, if there are any other things that we can do for you, if there are any particular topics that we can address for you or questions that you can answer, please, please, please give us a quick call at 336-270-6825, or you can give us an email. You can call or text that number, or you can also give us an email at skills, SKILLZ, the number 4, kids, KIDZ, @outlook.com. I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday.